Design is a 5,000 meter diamond drilling program, and the objective is to identify the higher grade zones of mineralization of what appears to be a very extensive copper gold porphyry system.
Solis Minerals has intersected copper mineralization in its first drill hole at the 100% owned Ilo Este copper gold project in southern Peru, confirming the potential of a large porphyry system. Here to discuss that potential is CEO Mitch Thomas. Mitch, it's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, Jonathan. Good to see you again.
It's a pleasure to have you. Now, talk us through what you're seeing at Ilo Este so far.
Yeah, no, sure thing. So, you've seen the announcement this morning, but I guess there's a bit of additional context. I mean, you mentioned 100% owned, but look, Ilo Este is a very interesting project. And, principally in terms of its location, it's in Peruvian, in the Peru's coastal copper belt, which is one of the most productive copper regions in the world. And just to give some individual characteristics of our project is that it sits at low altitude, which is important, and it's about 12 kilometers from the coast. So look, a great area for exploration for a large scale deposit. And I guess, why is this project so interesting for us? The main reason is that we've got three historical drill programs that we can leverage for the current drill program that we're executing. So basically, it was drilled three times between the year 2000 and 2016, and we're really leveraging that data for this drill program that we're completing, which is about the first in 10 years. So what we've designed is a 5,000 meter diamond drilling program, and the objective is to identify the higher grade zones of mineralization of what appears to be a very extensive copper gold porphyry system. So the main thrust of the announcement from this morning was that we've completed the first hole to 482 meters, and we've basically encountered four zones of visual mineralization throughout. So we had oxidized ore to about 100 meters, and that's with visible copper. And then we had a combination of stock work. So you've got quartz veining, you've got disseminated sulfides and chalcopyrite, but basically the ingredients of a porphyry system. And we've had visual copper and moly throughout. So I think, if I was to kind of distill that down for shareholders, look, we've got the right starting point. The rocks are looking very good. And I guess specifically, we've got host rocks that indicate a porphyry system capable of hosting large scale mining. So a great starting point, and we're looking to build upon that with subsequent holes.
Just before we get to when those the full results will be due, which is next month, but I'll get you to talk more about that in a second. You mentioned molybdenite there. Can you talk about why the discovery of molybdenite with copper is so important?
Yeah, no, sure. So look, for all of the, not all, but a lot of the porphyry systems that we see along this coastal and Andean copper belt, you do get, porphyry and copper ores being, I guess, closely correlated in terms of, when you see mineralization of one, you often get the other. And, if you kind of fast forward in terms of, why is that significant from a personal and like a company objective perspective is that, moly can play a very important role in being a credit if you're producing a copper con. So moly prices are very strong. So look, we're very encouraged by what we've seen. I think we put a photo in of the visual moly in the announcement this morning. So hopefully see more copper and moly as we go along.
So let's talk about when the results are due. Can you talk us through when you expect them and what you expect to see from them?
Yeah, so look, we sent our first batch, which was about 300 meters of the first hole to ALS in Lima to do the processing. So it is worth, really emphasizing that all we have at this point in time is, I think confirmation of visual mineralization and, an estimation of grades, but it's really until you actually do those assays that you get an accurate read. So look, very keen to get those results. And again, they've been fast tracked. Maybe as a bit of a personal remark as well is that, look, it's often very hard to see visible gold. And as a bit of a prop, and hopefully this works out, these are some rocks that I collected in my visit from a few months ago to this project. And you probably can't make it out, but we see some quartz veining here and some visual gold. And this was a sample from surface. So hopefully, what we can't pick up with the naked eye from the core that we've just sent to the lab, we do get a decent grade of gold because we have seen it in other, I guess, geochem that we've had from that site. So very keen to get those assay results, and it's looking at this point in time to be released in September 2025. So we'll get those out once received.
And I just want to touch on also the northern and southern magnetic anomalies as well. What are you aiming to find through those?
Yeah, so look, we again leveraging the existing drilling that's in place. We have some very good targets in both those southern and northern magnetic anomalies. The point to state is that we do have more historical data around the northern magnetic anomalies. So look, we've started there just to get some strong runs on the board, because again, the zones and the anomalies that we're targeting, we think are very prospective and supported by that previous work. What we've done more recently is IP analysis over this southern magnetic anomaly. And the interesting thing here is that no one has really tested the anomalies that we are targeting in that southern magnetic anomaly area. So we'll put about 7 holes into that region. And again, given that it was untested by the previous concession owners, we think that looks really exciting. So again, targeting a large copper gold porphyry system through both those anomalies.
So, Mitch, how does Ilo Este fit into the overall strategy for Solus, and what can we see next?
Yeah, so look, it's really the flagship of the strategy. So at a very basic level, the objective of what we're looking to achieve is to find, large copper gold resources capable of hosting large scale mining. And again, this very productive part of the mining world. And so, look, for me, the objectives of the current drill program is that if we were to get 6 out of the 10 holes that we're planning on drill to, intersect mineralization of over 300 meters at between 0.3 to 0.4% copper, hopefully higher, but with also a credit. I think that would be a real success case for us. And, what we're seeing out of the first hole and I guess hole and a half now is really pushing us in that direction. So that's what we're targeting, and we'll just let the drill work and the assays, I guess, confirm that as they come in.
Mitch, good luck with the rest of the program, and yeah, we'll speak again when the results come out. Have a good day.
Yep, thanks very much, Jonathan. See you later.